recording, so we will put that up as well. And then we'll have the slides and everything he has on the website at some point this weekend.
It's cool. I didn't bring my.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
stay, follow along.
On our website, we're gonna have links and downloads so that you can do it when you're at home, right?
Now this will be on the website later.
Yep.
Yeah. We want to do is we want to search up and download this application called Google Anti-Gravity. And then depending on if you have a Mac or a Windows or you're going to run Linux, you're going to choose the download that you need, because that's where we're going to be coding with AI. This is where we're going to be doing everything. So if y'all can have that downloaded while we go through the presentation, and then I'm going to go through some examples with y'all so y'all can see how to do this in action.
And if you're in the room and you need help, just raise your hand.
Yep.
Somebody will come around. Does the current president or the current secretary want to go help? Now, remember, if you do anything on the board, they can't see it online.
Okay.
So I
I'm
think
gonna
that
type it in chat, Google Anti-Gravity, and then I'm gonna write it down here, so when I'm at the presentation, they can.
there also might be a whiteboard feature in there or something,
Okay.
possibly.
It's called Anti-Gravity.
And yeah, it can be somewhat helpful. X64.
All right, so for this workshop, we're gonna go over an introduction on what is an AI agent, key concepts, and the goals that we want to do in this workshop. Second, I'm gonna teach y'all core principles that you need to use, especially when you're coding with agents. Then we're gonna go through a practical exercise using the Anti-Gravity Google IDE to code and build with agents. And then we're gonna I'm gonna give y'all some safety tips and responsibilities and like ways that you can do this in an ethical and safe way. And then last, just like a kind of projection of where we think this is gonna lead to the future, and then case studies of that. So with programming languages, there's been different levels of abstraction. So you can think of the lowest one is ones and zeros, machine code. And then with programming languages, it was a way for us humans to communicate with the machine code in a way that we can understand, because doing ones and zeros would take too long, and it's very difficult for a human to kind of understand that. And so whether it's like assembly, then C++, then Python, the higher level it is, the easier it is that it's like closer to English, easier for you to code with. That's why Python has been like really popular, because it's one of the easiest programming languages, especially to get started with, because it's like the closest that it can be to English versus like these more technical languages. And now we're at the new stage of that, which is natural language processing, which is what these AI and LLMs are based on. It's being able to understand English natural language, a way for the computer to understand that without needing the specifics or technicality of the syntax of languages. And so now that we're at this point, now the barrier of entry for coding, anyone who knows English, even if you don't know Python, if you don't know C++ or Java, you can still be able to code right now just using English. And so part of this, the goals of this workshop is to be able to use programming principles to create applications using AI without necessarily needing the specific technical knowledge of the syntax of individual languages. And the main reason why this is important is because, during the Industrial Revolution, different skills were outsourced or changed because of creations of new technologies. So if you knew how to sew something back in the past and that helped you get a job, that was later replaced. And so you would have to be able to adapt that skill with new technologies, especially now with AI being so common and normal, that it's going to change the way that programmers in the past had to learn. And instead of being stuck or spending all your skills on one specific language, being able to be more adaptable and focus on problem solving is what this new era will allow us to do. So, so with these LLMs, they're probabilistic, meaning that they don't go by a determined flow, but instead it's based on like chances. So like if I say hi to you, the highest likelihood thing, the highest probability of what people are going to say back, if I say hi, you could say hello, you could say hi, you can say hey, you could say what's up, you could say howdy, you can even say hola. And like hello would be the most likely, but hola would be the least likely, because if I'm speaking to you in English, it's not going to be very common that hola is going to be said. So with these probabilistic models, they, instead of like doing a, if you do this, then this, and if you do this, then this, kind of like your own, like a choose your own adventure book. Doing scripts like this, chatbots in the past like this would take forever because you would have to code every single path. But instead, because it's probabilistic, there's like a set number of paths that this can take, like hello, hi, hola. And so the models are able to choose, like, this is like 80% likely, and 60, you can say 20. So, oh, sorry. Like if hello was like 90% likely and hola was the least likely, the model can choose any of these paths depending on what's more likely. And so because there's like a different amount of paths that it can go, the more specific you can direct the AI to stay in like a certain amount of paths, the more likely you are to reach the goal that you want. And this is very important when you're speaking to these AI agents, is the more context, the more details you give it, the less random output that it's going to give you. And so then you can narrow down the specific paths that you want in order to reach your goal. So so you can think of a LLM like kind of like the engine, the brain that these models are based on. And they are the ones that like do the probabilistic reasoning. And you can think of an agent as just a way for that brain, the LLM, to be able to interact with the real world. So giving agent access to the internet to do Google searches, or giving an LLM access to be able to code. All an agent is just the LLM plus the tools that you give it to like interact with the world. Like my brain would be the LLM and my hands would be the tools. And so when we're doing agentic coding, we are basically allowing the LLM to think for us, and then we're connecting it with different tools, different codes, so that it can do different tasks. Like if you want an agent to be able to help you like write files, you need to allow the LLM to like have access to your computer and stuff like that. And so when we're coding with these agents, we're like kind of determining what tools and code that we should use with the agent in order to do a certain goal or tasks. That's what I just Okay. So different tools that agents usually use would be like API calling. An API is just a way for you to access a website. So a website has a door. Um, and in order to access the data directly to that website, you need an API, which is kind of like a key to that door. And so if you want to be able to have, if you want your code or agent to be able to access data from a website, you need a key to the website store, which is what an API is. So a lot of the time, there's a lot of API use that you're going to need. You can get the keys, well, like if you go sign up to a website, you'll say like save and download this secret key, and you want to keep that for yourself so you can use it in your code. But you don't want, just like you don't want your car keys or house key, you don't want anybody to just have those keys. So you have to be very careful with how you save them. Um, And then agents can also have, access to create code, access to manage your files on your computer, access to your web browser as well to manually click for you. There's different types of tools that you can use. But before you can even do all this, to like start the coding process, the most important part is planning and research. You need a system prompt, you need a goal, a purpose for that agent to know what it's supposed to do. Like if my goal is to get data from Zillow, your system prompt is going to be your job as an agent is to analyze data from Zillow so that it knows what it needs to do. Because like I said, they're probabilistic, and so there's a bunch of different paths they can take. So the more you can narrow the paths that they can take, the more likely that you are to get what you want. If you tell it that it's a data analysis agent, then it's gonna only do possibilities of data analysis and stuff like that. So there's the context that you have in your chat when you're talking to it, like when you talk to ChatGPT and you have your chat windows. That conversation is the short-term memory. But once you leave that chat, once you close that chat, it's not going to remember it. Like when you start a new chat, it's not going to remember your chats from the past. And so in order to save the memory for that agent to use later in the future, you save that in files. You can save that in some store systems that people call RAG. But I mean, the easiest and more simplest way is just like you write down the things that it needs to have for the long term in a file. But in the short term, that conversation that you're having with it, it's not going to remember that later. So be aware of that as well. Also, when you're talking to these agents, you're not going to talk to it like you're talking to a person or to even a chat. It's more like an employee worker type of conversation. So you're going to be more instructive. You're giving it instructions. You're giving it things that it needs to do. Like if you're giving it information that's not necessarily random, like I want to analyze data from Zillow. Also, I'm really tired. Also, I drank a lot of coffee today. Like this, a relevant context is going to confuse the agent, is going to make it less accurate because if you have like your main information that's important, but you're clouding it up with irrelevant information, it's going to kind of forget what it needs to do because it's given context that it doesn't need. So you want to be very direct, you want to be very precise and instructive to these agents. Has everyone, if you have a laptop, has anyone set up anti-gravity or downloaded it? Yeah, I have. Okay. When it comes to permissions, it's up to you about how comfortable you are with the permissions that you want to give it to. So the permissions, there's 3 different levels of permissions. It needs permission to access your computer's terminal, which it needs to code and like change stuff to edit your files. It needs access to be able to access your browser. And then it also needs access in terms of moving on based on decisions. So like if you say, I want to do this, it's going to ask you to review its plan before if you should accept their plan or not, or you could just let them do it automatically and you don't review it at all. Now there's cons to this. If you give it full access and you fully automate everything and it does everything without you checking anything, there is a chance that the agent could like go off because it's probabilistic. It can get random sometimes, and sometimes the randomness can do bad things to your environment or not do the things that you expect it to do. So always just be aware of that. So what I would recommend is just when it asks you to set your permissions, just put it on review only, and then as you feel more comfortable, you can let it do things automatically. Um, Also, these things will hallucinate. All the hallucination is that it just means that the agent has chose a random path that it kind of just became random. It starts like inventing or recalling things that don't exist because sometimes it can get confused. If it's supposed to be like on a path like this, sometimes it can start veering off and then just go completely random. That's not relevant. So you can tell it, hey, have you completed this? But sometimes it's just gonna make stuff up and lie to you just to make you happy. So you need a way to be able to make sure to validate that the output that it says it did is actually real. Like you said, I need you to add this data to a Google Sheets, and you check your Google Sheets and there's nothing there. Then like that's a way to verify that if the agent actually did something that it was supposed to do. Okay, let me change.
is not necessarily about making money. It's about teaching you the skills so that you can then go out and make the money.
Yeah.
There's a possibility.
Because I don't know nothing about AI yet.
Yeah.
There is a possibility. I've been talking to some people today, thanks to Minju sending emails to everyone, that we might be able to get some funding from the college for our project during the summer. So, and then next fall, we will hopefully have an actual account set up and be able to get money and do fundraising so that we can have better tools at our availability.
Yeah.
It would be great. If we were able to purchase the computer and do it, or
We will at least be able to rent the compute online.
Yeah. Because then, yeah, because like if we can get enough funding, we can, if everyone who joins the club can like get a subscription so that we can have higher rates. Okay, I think they should be here, being able to hear me now.
I think so now.
All right. So you can use VS Code, but for now I'm using anti-gravity because that's what I'm familiar with. So over here on the right is what we use to chat with the agent. And so here it even gives you option. Do you want to use Google's Gemini? Do you want to use Anthropic's Opus or Sonnet, or do you want to use ChatGPT? Each model is like almost kind of like on the same level, but usually it's the latest model is usually the best one at the time. Okay, and then in the middle, in the left right here, this is where we like you can see all your files. So it's just your file manager, and then in the middle is where all the files or documents are going to be.
You probably want to point out that they do want to create a folder and open it.
Yeah. Well, usually it tells you to open a folder, and so you can use you can just create like project folder and then open that one, and that's where you can store all your files for a specific project that you want to do, or you can make multiple folders for different projects. Yeah.
What's the difference between these and VS Code?
With VS Code, it's more it's more focused on manually coding, but with VS Code you can also have a AI assistant code and then use a agent in the terminal, but it's a little bit more manual. But with anti-gravity, it's more automated. The AI is doing more of the work. Then versus VS Code, you would do more of the work.
And the big thing is, because this is Google, this is geared towards Google's AI.
Yeah.
So they created this for you to go out and use their AI.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how many credits does it get you with Google Gemini Pro?
It depends, but it's definitely a lot more than the free plan. That's for sure.
1,000.
Yeah.
I think once you go on the Pro model and you run out, it'll drop you down to like the Flash model, and you'll still get like unlimited Flash.
Yeah.
So whenever you do any of this stuff, you have to be smart. Use the best model when you need it to do the best thing.
Yeah.
Use the less model when it's not as important.
Yeah, like if you're brainstorming and like planning, you want to use a smart model, but if you just needed to change a file, you don't need to use the smartest model for that.
That's smart. Like toggle it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also a good idea, some of the files that he will tell you about, some of the markdown files, you can even go to the free ChatGPT and have it create the markdown file for you and then put that into
Yeah.
I
anti-gravity.
wonder if you could compartmentalize it and have like other tasks like inside, like, hey, whenever you're doing this stuff, downshift this.
Yeah, that I'm gonna go more into details later, but you can create these things called skills, and you kind of specify what you want the agent to do, and you can also specify how you want it to do it, so that you don't have to keep telling it. You just read this file so that you can save your same time in the future, so it can keep doing the same thing over and over. So if you want to save they're called skills, you save the skills so that the agents can do that later in the future.
And it's called skills of how it weighs it.
Skills, yeah. So you give it different skills that it can use later in the future.
What is the model?
So it's just basically the smartness of the model. So Gemini Flash, it's mostly optimized to be fast. With Pro High, it's like supposed to be smarter and take more time reasoning.
The technical thing behind that is the reasoning. means that the model is going to think a lot before it actually does anything. So it's going to take longer to get a response, but theoretically that response is going to be a lot better. It also means it's going to eat a lot more of your tokens.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
Just screenshot this, or screenshot.
Okay.
There's a bunch of things on the GitHub. It's asking me, there's a whole bunch of it. I thought it'd just be my ID, but it doesn't have a date on it. Unofficial.
Mm-mm-mm. And so, the main way we're gonna do this is we're gonna create a project folder, and you can call it like Agentic Workshop or something like that. It doesn't really matter. But the main way we're gonna organize our files is gonna be a folder that holds directives, which just means your plans, your instructions of what you want. You're gonna have a second folder called scripts where you're gonna hold your code that the agent makes. And then you're also gonna have an agents.md file, which is just like a system prompt, so that the agent knows how it's going to create the project and knows your file structure, so that you don't have to explain it each time. Instead, you just say, read the agents.md so you know what to do. So you want an agents.md so that no matter the model, no matter the application that you're using for coding, that the agent knows instantly the context that it needs to start everything. The reason why we wanted to set it up this way is because whenever you're creating something for business applications, or you want something to have the same result each time, you don't want to rely on the LLMs to do that. Because they're probabilistic, they could be random, but you need the same output every single time. That's why you want to use the LLMs to make the code, and then you're using the code so that it can give you the same output every single time. So directives is one folder where you store your plans. Scripts is a second folder where you save your code. The agents.md is just a file. It's just like a Google Doc that has just like a text explaining what the agent is supposed to do. So it knows what to do in the future. Yeah. I'm gonna give you all an agents.md file in the website that we're gonna have, so that y'all can just give it that, and then it can like start immediately creating the file structure for you. Yeah, so you can customize it to however you want as you talk to it. I'm just giving y'all like a general template of a way you can organize your file structure and the way you can have your agents.md, but you can like specifically add your own preferences to it, whatever you want.
What's the
.env. So that file is what you use to save your API keys. Because a lot of the time, a lot of things that you're going to need is a key to websites, especially when you're trying to interact with them. So a .env file is kind of like where you store your keys. Like if you have a bunch of different keys, you store it under your doormat. It's just a way for you to hide your keys, but you can also use them whenever you need. You're gonna need something called a gitignore, but you don't have to set that up. I have that already in the agents.md file explaining that, so it's gonna be able to do that for you. But you need a gitignore file so that it doesn't push it online. Like you can save all your files locally on your computer, or you could save it on Google Drive, or you could save it on GitHub. But if you're saving it online, you don't want to send your keys online. So you need a .env file plus a gitignore. It keeps your keys on your laptop, but it doesn't push it online so that people can use your keys whenever. Because sometimes they charge you for every time you open a door, they can charge you 1 cent for that. And if people have access to your keys, they can just open doors unlimited amount of times. You're gonna have a high bill. So you don't want that to happen. Same thing with agents. You don't want to give them free reign of your API keys, because they can sometimes loop and hallucinate, and they can end up using it 200, 300 times. And once that starts adding up, it can be a lot. But let me see. I'm going to show y'all an example to where y'all don't even have to do this yourselves. You can just tell the AI to do it, and it'll be able to set it all up for you. So I'm going to show y'all an example of that. Mm, mm. Sorry, just give me 1 second. You specifically want to save your files in something called a .md file. All a .md file is just like a text file, but it's easier for the agent to read it. Because like when you use something like Google Docs can be very bloaty. And so a .md file is just like a very simplified, less, like it's like, it doesn't require that much storage space. It's just like a very simplified text file for the agent to be able to read it easier and faster. Mm, mm, mm.
We have about a half an hour until 6, so you might want to just walk them through the code
Okay.
for the rest of the time.
All right, that's what I'm about to do. So I have this example agents.md file, and all it explains is like the system and framework we're going to use. And you see it here on the left, File Explorer. I made a new project folder. It's completely empty. There's nothing in it. And the only thing I have in this is this sample agents.md file that I'm going to give you all in a second. And so it explains everything. It's good for you to look over it later, and then you can add your own prefaces later. But all I'm going to do is right here in the agents chat, I'm going to press app, and then I'm going to click files, and then I'm going to click this. So all I'm going to do is explain. I'm going to tell it to read this file. When I do that, it's going to read all of this for me. So I'm going to say, help me. What's that? I'm going to say, help me set up and organize my folder structure. To be honest, if you misspell, it's going to be able to assume as long as you didn't completely misspell it. And so now it's going to be, instead of me having to manually make the folders, it's going to be able to do all that for me. So right now you can see right here on the right, you can see it's thinking a thought process. And see, look, it just made those files instantly for me right now, those folders. And so it's able to, because it's in this application, it's able to access your computer and start coding and editing files for you immediately. And so I made this folder, I made this, I made a .env file as well. I used Pro, but you could do, I should have probably used Flash, but it doesn't really matter right now. Yeah. All right, so I was able to set up everything for me. It created the .env file example. It created this so that it doesn't push online, and it also created these other files as well.
What website is this?
It's something you have to download called Anti-Gravity.
Anti-gravity?
Yeah, it's Google Anti-Gravity, and this is what we're using. I said earlier, right?
Those little tabs right there, or what?
These are the files that it made. So on the left, you can see your file folder. On the right is where you chat, and in the middle is where you actually see the files.
Yeah.
So like I
you
click
can edit
agents.
those files
You-
to make it do what you want it to do?
Yeah, so I can tell it to edit the files for me so that I can have the information that I want it to do. And it's not just text files. This also applies to coding files as well. And so y'all don't even have to set this up for you. And so a lot of the time you want to spend the majority of your time planning and brainstorming, because It's better to spend 1 hour planning and then it builds it in 10 minutes versus doing 10 minutes of planning and then you're having to fix it for 2 or 3 hours. You want to make sure that it can do everything right the first time through, because if it messes up too much, sometimes it's just easier to start all over. And you don't want to waste time like that. So you want to do as much research as possible. A lot of the time what I do is I open a chat online, like ChatGPT or Gemini. I do research with that so I don't waste the tokens here, because it gives you a limit of how much you can use the AI here. So I'm just going to use a free chat online, do planning. It'll help me create a prompt so that I can feed it to this. I use that to save tokens.
How much are you investing into like coding?
What do you mean?
Like, how much are you putting in as far as money?
So I have a Cloud Code subscription. I think it's like $17 or $19 or $20, and to me that's really worth it. Yeah, about $20 a month.
The code.
Yes, the code.
And then from there it's just the breeze or what?
If you want, depending on how much in detail you want to go in your projects, and you really need to keep using AI, then you can upgrade your plan, but it becomes really expensive after that. After a $20 plan, it becomes like $200. That's really if you have like a whole business at that point. If you have a whole business, then like a lot of businesses will start subscribe
So
to.
could you use that $20 plan to like learn stocks?
Yeah. Mostly though, you're gonna use it to build for you, and you wanna like it can also help you with research, but it's mostly focused on building and coding. Yeah, and the more knowledge or expertise that you have, the easier and faster it will be to code. And so one simple example that we can do is create a website plan with me. Wait, create a website plan. Create a .md file where we can plan on making a website. And so directives right here, this is where you're gonna save your plans. So you want to tell it not necessarily how you want it to be done, but you want to tell it what you want it, what it needs to do. Like I want to be able to get listings that were just listed on Zillow through text messages. So that's what you're gonna tell it, and it's gonna save those instructions. And then in the executions, it's actually going to build the code and have the instructions of how it's doing it. But first, you want to focus on the what and
I
why.
got one question. Can I do this on a Google Chromebook?
Yeah, I'm doing this right now on a Google Chromebook. So
I swear.
yeah.
Okay, mine's
Yeah, the thing with Google Chromebooks though is that because it's Chrome, usually everything you need Mac or Windows. So it was a little bit annoying, but I had to create a virtual Linux environment that's kind of like isolated in order to do my coding. It's a little bit annoying on Chrome, but you can do it on Chromebook.
So you would teach me?
Yeah, I can help you with that.
Cool. I have a Google Chromebook. I didn't know I had to bring a laptop.
Well, it's okay because I'm going to show you how to do it, and then you can do it at home with your own projects to whatever you want to work on. So I told it to create a directive.md file so that we can brainstorm how to make a website. And so it just made this. It's going to ask me questions and preferences that I want. So, with directives, you want to make sure that you can understand what it's doing. So, because if it becomes too complicated and you don't know what's happening, it's going to be very hard for you to review if what the agent is doing is working or not. But as long as you like kind of understand, at least have an idea of how it's working, then that can help you when you're going with your projects.
How long did it take you to learn this?
To learn this, really, the more practice you do, the better it is. Because like it's one thing to know the conceptual knowledge, but when you're able to,
How long have you been working on computers? Working with computers?
I took my first programming class, I guess,
Okay, so you have to
In
have
high school.
programming knowledge.
Ye- so it's important to use programming principles and concepts, but you don't need to necessarily know how do I use an API in Python. Like you don't need to know the specific languages as long as you know how to problem solve and use the principles. Like you want to make sure that it's not hackable. It's not like people can like break into it. You need to know how that works conceptually, but not necessarily how to write it specifically.
If I can
Me,
interrupt
as
for just
somebody
one
that
second.
doesn't usually use the computer, would this be like difficult or easy?
Right, now if I can interrupt. So we are very limited on time. Let's let him get through teaching everybody how to code, and then afterwards you can ask him the more personal questions.
Okay.
So, alright, so what?
So right now, what I'm doing is I'm creating a plan file. So I want to make a website. So I told it, make a file where we can talk about how we're going to make a website. And so it did that. And so now I'm going to say, help me make a website for I don't know, AI club. What's the easiest and fastest way to do so? So right now, because I don't know how to do this, I'm gonna allow its creativity to help brainstorm for me, and then I could choose
MacBook.
the plan that I want. Yeah, it's gonna give me options. So right now, it's thinking. You see these thoughts right here? That's what it's basically thinking of trying to like figure out what to tell me and what options to do.
What does? I wish I had glasses though.
Oh, sorry. So right here, what you're seeing right here is you're seeing its chain of thought. You're seeing what
Like
reasoning.
the websites.
Oh,
like
the application.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Is you asked it to make you a website, right?
Yeah, and so I'm helping it. I asked it to help me brainstorm how to make one. So I'm making the plan
So it's
before.
giving you the steps.
Yeah, it's giving me the steps of what I want to do. It's taking a minute thinking, but it's because the smarter that it is, the more time that it needs, the more reasoning that it needs, the more time it needs to think,
The
basically.
more you would pay for the application, though, is the faster it would give you the results. Imagine.
It depends on the model. Some models are optimized to be faster but
What
dumber.
model is this?
This is Gemini. This is Google's. Yeah, this is Google's one. So you can have one that's fast and dumb. You can have one that's smart and slow, or you can have someone in the
other
middle.
ones?
Yeah, I have. I like Cloud Code.
Laco?
I keep hearing good things about it.
I'll search it.
Is it because it's like the
Claro
best
AI.
mix of everything, kind of?
Cloud Code, I guess just right now it's more optimized for coding. But like with,
Classical AI, also known as.
but it just depends. You can like look at the benchmarks online and what's better, and what is better for.
It changes like every week.
Yeah, because everyone's trying to one up
Yeah.
each other, so they're
That's
always.
another thing I've noticed too. Better than ever, and like, it's like, beat all the other ones, we're gonna put everybody else out of business, and then. the
It's
next
because
week,
AI
it's
keeps
like,
getting smarter.
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
Yeah.
The hype keeps out hyping itself. Yeah.
It is.
All right, so because I told it to do research right now, it created a plan within this file of how or what it wants to do, and so right now I'm telling it to start working on the plan.
And you just might want to remind them how important it is to have that plan before you actually let it go.
Yeah, because if you don't have a plan and you just start building right away, it can create because there's so many different paths that it can take. It can make something completely random.
And that's like exactly what I got out of that trend on Reddit. I'm reading like third person on these other people talking to another person, giving him advice, because he's making stuff really quickly and it's producing it, and then he spends all night debugging.
Yeah.
And he's like getting really kind of like upset.
Yeah.
It's almost like wanting to quit AI because, and then they're talking to him, it's like, no, you need to actually just plan it out like a regular
Yeah.
program and don't forget your fundamentals, because it will just go off on,
Yeah.
in the wild without.
Especially when you're talking to it, you're treating it like a worker. It might not necessarily know all the context and knowledge that you know. So when you're talking to it, sometimes people are assuming that it knows what you know, but it doesn't. You have to spell it out to it.
Sometimes maybe have to check its content.
Yeah, you have to
Make sure it
check.
knows what you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're talking to an intern. The intern might not know everything, so you want to be very specific and say things simply so that it knows what to do step by step, and then you're kind of like you're kind of checking over it, looking over his shoulder, kind of like you would like an intern.
I also think like usage of certain words, I guess, too, like make sure like this word in this context. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, like cultural, almost like, or
Yeah, like if I know coding principles, I can give it specific I guess topics or things that it should focus on while building it. So when you give it like specific things or goals to focus on, then it'll like be able to, it's going to keep thinking about that goal while it's making it at the same time. But you just gotta be careful, because kind of like how like you can search something up on Google in a biased way. Like so like if I'm trying to win an argument, sometimes I'll search up, tell me why this is correct.
So I got a little personal anecdote, really quickly, relationship advice, and I realized that it was exactly how I framed the question. It would give me, you know, like more or less like a who's at fault kind of thing, or like you know what I mean, or exactly that would sound like.
Let me share my screen. And so after I told it to create that simple website for me, oh yes, my screen not sharing.
Do you see the website and you adjust your plan, the plan they give you?
Yeah, so like
Or-
if the website doesn't look how I want it, I'm gonna tell it, hey, I want it to be, I don't want to use these colors. I want this certain font.
Or we like perfect the plan first and we program.
I personally think that it's better if you tell it your preferences before it even begins rather than while it's doing it, because it could have built it in a way to where it's actually not that flexible.
So it's like every prompt we have like a white paper on the side.
Yeah.
And we have to have like
I want my
paper for
Yeah.
what to build.
You don't have to, you like writing it down if it helps you think about it, can be helpful, but usually I would either create like my own .md file and explain specifically what I want, or you could do that. You can plan with it with the AI agent, and you can also do it during the fact. It just but I do emphasize that the more planning you do initially, the easier it will be.
But
Yeah.
sometimes like you have to have the type question on the plan, like in the class we take, they have like some like basic question in the plan, and we use that to answer the problem we want to solve.
Mhm.
Then we do the same like for this.
Yeah, like when you're doing a homework assignment, you're saying that you have to like create like a list of things that you need to do in order to solve that problem. You would do the same thing in a project, yeah. If you want your project to do a certain thing, you want like a list of steps that you need to complete in order so that you can solve that or do that project. That same logic applies here.
Think about your coding agents as like a really famous child. You have to tell it what you want it to do, but every time you talk to it, it's expensive because it's famous. You got to pay that fee to talk to it.
Yeah.
So the less amount of
every time we talk to it?
yeah, every time you talk to the thing, not use as tokens. That's money out of your pocket.
Yeah. So like it gives you a limit.
I know that. What the
Yeah.
So every time you want to be as concise and specific up front so that you don't
You
keep
have to
going back
pay
and
for
forth.
it.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to see your professor during office hours.
So I can build a business, but it's gonna take a lot of money
It will
just
take
to
a lot of
talk
money
to
using
the
AI.
to build it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the smarter that you can be, the smarter, if you're smart with it, you can like do it in an efficient way to where you don't have to spend a lot of money. You just have to like try to manage how much you're using it.
See, because this whole time I thought AI was free.
There is like free trials or like you can use it for free. It's just a lot limited. And if you want to do coding, you need to do.
So how much is a second to type it?
We'll get to that after we get through the code.
Yeah.
but-
So right, because I told it to create a website, right? It was able to do that for me, and it
so
made.
you
it-
paid
but-
right now.
I used they basically give me limits, and
Oh,
so
you're using the school limit.
yeah, I'm giving it the free limit that it gives me.
Okay.
So
And
when
that's the one that for the school.
if you sign up
what
for
do
the
you
pro
use?
plan, you can get a discount, which gives you more of a limit. But we'll have links to all of that in our website after this. And so it was able to create this website for me very quickly. But I didn't tell it how I wanted my website to look. I didn't tell it to like actually have people be able to access this online. I didn't tell it all those things. So it built this random website for me, but because I didn't specify what exactly I wanted on my
It's giving
website,
you the option.
yeah, it's giving me like this is what I chose. Like it built this based on what it thought it was best, but because I didn't explain it, this might work for me, but it might not work for me. And so if I want to change this website, I want to specify
So you
exactly
paid
what I
for
want. I used tokens for this. So let's say
So
I'm.
you
Focus
guys remember when you would have a cell phone and it didn't have unlimited minutes?
Yeah.
Every month you'd have like 100 minutes?
Mhm.
It's like that. You pay for some amount of usage with your AI subscription. Once you go over that, you're kind of done. And to get the higher unlimited plan,
You gotta pay a little extra.
it's not a little extra. It's exponential.
Exponential. So it's not cheap.
So these models cost almost $1 billion to train. So they're not going to give it away for free.
Yeah, and I wouldn't pay for it if it was not free. How expensive is it?
It just depends on how big your project is. If you're making something small, it's not going to be that expensive. But the bigger
So
it
let's
is,
say
the
I'm
more
making
expensive.
something small. What would be the minimum?
Like, yeah, you could do it for free or even $20 a month.
So there are some free tiers. What you all need to know, very important. If something is free, there are catches. Every time you do something for free, these companies
It sounds like
watch
you've
what
done it,
you
so
do
you've
and they
done it for
record
free.
that.
How
You're
much
They
is
use
it?
that for their training
You're the
data.
resource.
So your ideals can work their way into other people's products. So if you're creating a product that you want to sell and has intellectual property, do not use free AI.
Yeah, okay, because there was a moment I actually started asking the ChatGPT, like, how much of this do I own? And it got kind of contentious, and it got to a point to where, I guess, they've been sued enough to where it just says you need to talk to a lawyer, because it stops giving like professional license advice after a certain like limit. Thinking like practicing law or without a license, you really shouldn't give advice.
And so one thing I wanted to do is I wanted it to change the color of the website because I didn't like purple. And so I just specified, I told the agent to make the website more blue. And so right now it's changing the code that it made for this website to change it blue because I was able to talk to it and tell it to do that. And it's even opening it online right now for me. Because I'm having it it's asking me for permission to do stuff, so because I'm doing it, I have to manually allow it to run code. But once you feel more comfortable, you can let it do it automatically without having to ask for permission.
be careful on that as well.
Yeah, be careful
So
with
this is
that.
the
You can't wipe your
anti-gravity
machine.
tool?
Yeah, Google anti-gravity. You just gotta be careful with.
So is this something that you guys developed, or is
No,
it like
Google made this.
Google made this?
Made this
What,
IDE,
were you
but
the coders of it?
no.
Yeah.
This is considered.
So,
A lot smarter people who have a lot more money made them.
So you know how phone companies will give you a free phone if you join them?
Mhm.
That's what anti-gravity is.
Yeah.
It's, we'll give you this app to do
'Cause I've
code,
worked at
but
a phone store,
you want to come buy our AI.
Then you have to buy the whole shit.
I told it to make the website even more blue because I didn't like that it didn't. I meant to say that to change the background blue, but I only changed the letters blue. So because I didn't specify that, it just chose a random thing to turn blue. But so now I'm specifying it to make the whole thing, even the background blue. That's how important being specific with the agent, with the AI agent is, because if you don't specify, it can just choose. It'll just assume what you want, even if you don't tell it, basically. Sometimes they can take a minute, especially if the task that you're doing is complicated or not. You just got to be patient. Okay. So,
It also doesn't help that Dallas College Wi-Fi is not great.
yeah.
It's terrible.
Could you use AI to bypass the school? Would
There.
that be something that you could do?
There is a new AI model called Claude Mythos, and a lot of people are freaking out about it because Claude is not giving people access to it publicly yet because apparently Claude Mythos, they're using it to like be able to find security flaws in a lot of coding applications. So that's one concern that people are having right now, is that these models are getting so smart that like they
Do
can.
you have it?
No.
you don't.
Only-
Is that what they, like the Mexican government, like they bullied the LLM until it eventually just gave in?
Sometimes they can do that because you can like add guardrails so that like you don't want the AI agent to tell somebody how to create a bomb, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes if you're able to kind of trick it,
Like whenever they do rhymes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or pretend in an imaginary world that I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
This is what he would do. How would I write the story?
yeah, because it's like,
really realistic.
yeah. And so like yeah, sometimes people can use prompt injection as well. So like if you copy something, people can have words hidden and then it'll create code for you, but you didn't realize that somebody accidentally like hid the letters, and so now it's doing what they wanted.
So if you're a computer science
That's
student
interesting.
Yeah.
and you take one of my classes and you want to cheat and use AI to do your coding assignment, be prepared that I steal your information.
Oh, you do classes for what?
I'm a professor here. I'm the advisor.
What profession are you?
My background is AI research. So I teach
research.
computer science.
So this is one of your students?
He is the president of the club.
Yeah, I joined the club,
Okay, cool.
but I'm not a student
So
yet.
he made the club and you agreed to?
He made the club. I just ran for president.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, shit.
And so,
I do want to learn a lot about AI. I feel like you have a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm a community college teacher.
How you not got a lot of money? You got AI, right? This guy probably got more money than you.
definitely not. There is like a lot of concepts and things that you can learn during this process, but to be honest, the best way to learn is from practice and while also learning at the same time.
How are we doing on the website?
It didn't change it to the color blue that I wanted. If I knew more about website design, I would tell it what specifically to do in order to change the color more blue how I want it, but because I don't know that, it's not going to be it's not gonna do the
This is where
specific
you
thing
would
that
go
I want.
Change the
online
header
to a
to
color
blue.
picker and choose the color you want and give it
Yeah,
the X
that's
value for it.
Yeah.
The proper.
So, yeah, the more information, the more planning, the more research you can do, the better the output will be. And because like what I told it
So
and
you
what I
literally
prompted,
have to do all the work. from-
you do all the
But
thinking, they do all the
thinking
building.
Of what you want
Yeah.
to build, and it'll build it.
Yeah.
And
So-
you know what, that's cool.
Yeah. So you focus on the thinking, they focus on the building.
Yeah.
But if you have experience as a builder, that can help. But yeah. And so like this JavaScript file, this HTML file, I personally don't even know how to code it in these languages, but because I told it I wanted a website, it was able to build it for me. You want to keep your plans, you don't want to overcomplicate your plans, because if you don't know what's happening, it's going to be hard for you to fix it. So you want to make sure that your plans are easy and understand, and like easy and simple enough for you to understand what's going on. But with the code and stuff, it can be complicated and you might not necessarily understand, but if you know the logic, that's important.
Are we gonna learn coding here?
We can learn coding while doing these projects at the same time, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So typically what you want to do if you don't know how to code is somewhere in one of those MD files, you want to tell it to give you lots and lots of comments, explain
Yeah.
how the code works like I don't know how to code, so that you can read through it and understand.
So it'll.
Because like right now, he doesn't know JavaScript.
It'll tell him by itself, like how
Yeah,
it works.
it'll add
itself.
stuff in the code telling him what it's doing.
Yeah.
Because like right now, he doesn't know JavaScript. So he could put this website up, but since he doesn't know JavaScript, he doesn't know if there's any vulnerabilities in that code.
Mhm.
He doesn't know anything that code could do which could lead to him losing money.
So doing that kind of opens up the black box so you can
Yeah.
see how it works. Okay, because that's.
If
Another thing I'm
your
super curious about.
ideal in AI coding is let the AI do everything and then put it out the door and make money, I guarantee that you're gonna get in trouble.
Why? So
Because like a lot of people made websites with AI and they knew nothing about websites, and then people were able to hack into these websites because they didn't know anything.
So you weren't here earlier. Let's say that you create that website. I sign up for it because I think it's a good website. I give you my credit card. Your website gets hacked. My credit card gets stolen. I lose $5,000.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm not suing Gemini. I'm suing you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
suing me.
Yeah. So you want to be very careful. Yeah.
So it is still highly important to know how to program, or at least be able to
at
read
least
code.
like if you're gonna build a program, like a website for a company, at least know how to keep it from getting corrupt. That's crazy. I didn't see that.
Mhm.
So he just built this website right now. So
Yeah.
how would he keep it from getting corrupt? As far
I
as
would just have to
hacking?
do more research, more planning. So like, one thing though that you can do is if you don't know nothing, you can start simple and then add to the complexity over time. You want it to be as complex as needed, but as simple as possible. And so you can have your version 1, and version 2 is going to be better because you know more, in version 3. So you can start simple and then keep building as you're learning and improving it over time.
And then the other thing that I recommend is going to cost you more tokens, so possibly more money. Switch the model. Ask that model, please review my code and look for any security vulnerabilities or any bad
The AI
code
will do that
practices.
to you.
And let the other code review the code that the other LLM created.
But what if you ask an AI to look for? Okay, I see what you mean.
So it's not going to be perfect. It's kind of like when you do your homework and you ask your classmate, hey, can you check my math problem to make sure I did it correctly? They're not an expert, but maybe they were able to solve that problem. So doesn't take away from not knowing how to code, but it will give you at least a little bit more feel for maybe there's not going to be something wrong.
Yeah. Especially too, because when I wanted to do my own project, I wanted to be able to access data from Zillow, but I had no idea how. And so I was gonna have to read a bunch of books, these really big books about how to use Python and how to use an API key in my code. But when I started learning how to use AI, okay, all I need to know is that an API is like a key to open a website's door. And because I knew that, I was able to get started on my project. And as I was able to practice in my project, I was able to fully understand more about how the code works, the concepts, and all that stuff. So it was helping me save the time from learning the technical knowledge immediately. So instead, I learned the concepts first, and then I could learn the knowledge over time while I'm building. And that was able to help me.
We're actually 2 minutes away from time. So how about you, so we didn't get to go through everything. We kind of got you an intro to how to get to anti-gravity. How about you sum up the main points? And then what we can plan on doing is maybe when Nefi's done with his finals, he can sit down and record a video of just him coding, of actually going through and maybe doing a simple project
That would be great.
to give you a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Because this summer, as an AI club, we are going to be building a chatbot. So some of us are not going to know how to code at all, and we're going to probably use something like anti-gravity to help us code.
A whole lot of notes.
Yeah. The key points is you're going to spend most of your time planning, researching, thinking. You're going to be focused on the thinking. You're going to use the AI to build for you based on your plans. So you're going to create files with your plans. You're going to, as you're doing more research, you're going to specify more in the plans. The AI is going to build for you, and then it's going to save the code. And then you're going to use the code in order for your projects of what you want. And you can start simple in the first implementation, but over time you can add to the complexity as you're learning and knowing more. Those are the main takeaways. Yeah.
I got a question. How long have you been doing coding with AI?
With AI specifically, like about 9 months. No,
You're
wait.
rich as fuck, isn't
No, not yet. Because I've been using.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So in 9 months, I could be the equivalent of like what you know.
Yeah, because like I've been using AI chats a lot, like on Gemini and ChatGPT, but it wasn't until anti-gravity came out and Cloud Code became better, to where instead of chatting with it and asking it for code and copying the code manually and pasting it, now you can just have it do that directly immediately. So that is newer. That's more of a recent thing that's been catching on over the past 6 months.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
Okay.
So your summary of what you're talking about, we gonna be on the website when I go in.
Yeah, we're gonna build on that application. Yeah, it's just like an app for your computer that you can use for coding.
Super simple analogy, when you go to college, first thing you need to do is know what you're going to do. So you make a degree plan.
Yes.
And then it's just following that degree plan.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the chatbot? You guys looked at?
We're still researching that right now, but like we're focusing on right now, what do we want the chatbot to even do before we even talk about how we're gonna build it.
So, I've heard like, I'm personally curious about that, like role-playing games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it'd be really cool to either have chatbot be the GM,
Mm-hmm.
or, it could auto-create like NPC.
Yeah.
Like text trees. Sometimes that's just really hard to do on the fly.
Yeah.
Especially if you want your characters to like have an open field. Sometimes you're playing, they just get, it's called railroading, where they just kind of have to walk the game. But then there's other people who I think like they want to be able to have like a personal expert, like maybe on the
Mhm.
Bible or something, and they can have, it'll just be like all about that and have the historical context and other things like something like that. Is that-
Yeah.
Or like maybe a cookbook or somebody's a really good
Yeah,
chef.
so if you are interested in AI, you're interested in working on the chatbot, join the teams. There will be a form that goes out through Teams. We're collecting what is, so in software engineering terms, it's called the MVP, the minimum viable product. So what are the key features that we need to create a Dallas College Success Coach chatbot that students would be able to use and find that it benefited them. And we're going to work on that over the summer, and then hopefully by when fall starts, we will have some type of app or website that students can use to also help them navigate Dallas College and its classes. So we are going to run that kind of like a real software engineering team. So we will have different groups. So even if you have never programmed before, you are highly useful and we have a job for you.
But yeah, this is also to promote our club, and so we can also get more support from the school as well. That's part of the reason why we focus on creating a success chatbot for the school, because we want to grow this club. So yeah, you can join this club. We'll have projects over the summer, and then we're gonna have projects in the fall as well if you're a student there. If you're a student in the fall, so yeah.
They're now on Teams.
Yeah, we're on Teams now too. So we're gonna.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, they are okay.
So officially, because of Dallas College and state restrictions, we have to use Teams to communicate.
Okay.
There is also an unofficial, which means I can't be in it, Discord.
Yeah,
So
we have a Discord as well.
ask someone who's not me, and they can give you the Discord link.
I think I'm too old to do that. I've been on Discord, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know, the GUI doesn't, I don't get it. It's like, I think, I'm
But
not-
all the official information will go
I'm
through
serious.
Teams.
Like, I look at it like, I don't get this. Only the old people would stay on Facebook or MySpace, remember?
Well, we're never too old to learn.
Yeah. And now with this, it makes it easier for somebody who has no technical knowledge to start doing this.
Thanks, Doctor.
This is my first time, but as I keep teaching and learning, I'm going to get better at it. So.
And what's your
You
name?
really did, yeah.
My name is David Bracewell. If you want to come visit me, my office is just right there.
Thank you.
I teach Programming Fundamentals 1, 2, 3. I also teach Intro to Python, and this summer I'll be teaching a data structures class for the BAT program.
You said Python over the summer?
Not over the summer. Over the summer, I'm teaching, maybe I'll be teaching Programming Fundamentals 1, but 2, 3, and then a class called ITSD 3330, which is a data structure